Good evening. Proud of our guys for responding after two very tough games. At Marquette, home against Villanova, we just got outclassed. We had to go back. We actually went back to watch our game at Xavier. And, we there were some things that were creeping up in our team that game that we should have taken care of after a victory that we didn't. And I thought our guys were much more together, assertive, tough, really locked in against a team, Georgetown's offense, which is potent. They have Cook's the only guy on the team that can't make a three. They have great shooters and scored a ton of points in this building and on the road. So we really had to make this a defensive game. Felt like our guys did. And, any road victory in this league is a good one.
And when you kind of look at some of the shots in the first half, the outside, I think you guys took 16 threes, or I think scored 16. I know you like to take a lot of threes, but do you feel like some of those were not threes that you wanted to take?
Yeah, I thought we took a couple of bad ones. Took one off a ball screen. Garway took one we didn't love. It was late in the half. We had a lead. We wanted to kind of get out of that half. Jaden had some foul trouble. Devin took one. He tried to draw a foul. That was a big focus at halftime, was us taking smarter shots. And we went from 40% to 60% in the second half. Our shot quality got a lot better in the second half. Finished up 94% of our shots at the rim of three. That's great. 1.06 points per possession.
And Epps had a decent start, and then you guys bottled them up. I think he had 11 early, and then what was it, about 6 or 7?
Yeah, they made they were 2 for 3 from three early. That one we gave up late. They should have finished the game with 3 made threes, and that was the focus. Our transition defense, 3-point defense, Epps defense, defensive rebounding. We didn't even talk offense because these teams, we ain't got 90 in us. We ain't got 90 in us. So in regulation, so we had to absolutely guard these guys.
You mentioned transition defense. You guys get 10 fast break points in the second half. How much of that emphasis was that to kind of get out there and run?
Yeah, if you a team that's great going into offensive glass, if you run hard, you can get some stuff in transition. I thought our guys did. And yeah, it was good. It was good for us.
When you hear fans behind you chanting, let's go Providence, all that.
Yeah, let's go Friars.
Friars.
Providence, too many syllables.
How does that feel then
No, our fans are incredible. Our fans are incredible. Everywhere we've been this season, especially at home, very electric. I don't got. We have no complaints with our fans in Friartown. They're as good as any I've been around, road or home. They are electric.
How important was it for you to kind of throttle down on Styles? In the first half, he got off a little bit, then you put Ticket on him, and Ticket wasn't leaving him. And you clearly wanted to target him.
Yeah, he was good. We started the game. We didn't mix any two bones about it. We put Devin and we put Ticket on Styles, and Epps, our two best defenders, weren't going to mess around. Now, Styles he's a really good shot maker. He makes some shots. He makes some contested twos. We have no choice but to live with those. Ticket got some charges. Styles is a really good player. And not only that, got to give him a ton of credit because he also goes to the offensive glass relentlessly. I think he's a really good – this Georgetown team has a ton of talent. I said this last time. When I look at Masood, played in the Elite Eight, Styles from North Carolina, Brumbar, Texas, Jaden Epps, Illinois, they have – Fielder had a really good game for a young guy. Every time we play them, we give them our best shot. You think of the game, TCU, they should have won. The game at Xavier right there, the home game against Seton Hall. They had games that are – and we talk about it on our side. We know the one-possession game, the games we lost, the margin. The one-possession games we win, the margin. I don't know what they've had some bad ones mixed in there, but we have a ton of respect for this team. And obviously with Ed is who he is as a coach.
When you were a 16-year-old cat playing for Duty Lewis, Cecil Kirk, could you have ever imagined that you'd be a Big East head coach?
I don't know. I've always known I was going to coach. I just thought it would be after a long career in the NBA. It was a long one-year career in the NBA. But I always knew I wanted to coach. So I listen to Duty. I listen to Frank Haith, Mike Anderson, Rick Barnes, Tad Boyle, Nestor, Che Garcia, Luka Pavicevic. I've listened intently to every coach I've ever had, and I'm trying to get better every day as a coach. I have a long way to go.
Kim, you
What's up,
mentioned,
Bobby?
hey, you mentioned Patrick being the bracketologist that you like to follow the most. This is the time of the year.
I actually don't follow any.
Okay.
This has been since 2016. You know, I thought we were in. No one else thought we were in. And I find this lacrosse guy from Baltimore whose bracket had us in. And I was like, okay. And then I end up at George Mason and he's covering us. So
But this is the time of year, fans and like mainstream media start really paying attention to that. But being in the Big East, you guys basically been fighting for your tournament lives since the league started, right? What's this Big East, your first Big East season been like?
well, I look at it as 2 seasons. We were in first place in the Big East, 2-0, and then we lose Bryce Hopkins. And it was a complete different fight, a revamping of everything. Roles, we lost 3.5 games without him. And then we had to start our climb back. And our guys have battled at Seton Hall, Creighton, St. John's, at Xavier. Our guys have battled and gotten some really good victories. And we have a Connecticut, Tennessee, Purdue, Houston are the best teams in the country. And we have who I think is the best team in the country on both sides of the ball, backboards, culture on Saturday in our building at 8 p.m.
And then you guys had, Friars had a great turnout, but it seemed particularly maybe you also had a great turnout on the way out. I saw you talking to some people. What was it like coaching in DC?
Yeah, I'm locked into the game. I lived here the last few years, in Arlington when I was at George Mason. My family's from Baltimore. I have a lot of friends in this area. Providence is home. Rhode Island is home. And I was focused on the court. I thought our fans were incredible. It's going to be good to see my family tonight. Briefly, then we got to leave.
Yeah, Coach, so like you mentioned, you have UConn on Saturday, and then you've got the Big East tournament next week. What are you focusing on heading into the stretch run? Trying to get
our health. Our health was kind of vigilant of guys, nicks and bruises at the end of that game. Wanted to get them out, but you have to weigh the opportunity cost. We needed to win tonight. But we also need to play well on Saturday, and we need to play well in New York. But the focus is on scrubbing this game, getting healthy, getting recovered, and preparing to play Connecticut, a team I just have immense respect for.
One more question.
Kim, the way things were going late in the first half, the way you guys were shooting, how much of a shot in the arm was that for that 3 going into the locker room?
Yeah, they cut it to 1, that 3, put it back to 4. Sounds right. Yeah, it's good. It's always good when you see the ball go through the net. It was a great play. Devin drove the ball. He had 2 on him. You drive to score. And, my AAU coach Duty said, when you drive to score, if someone steps up, give it up. If no one steps up, lay it up. And that riddle or rhyme held true on that play.
Devin had 20 of his 24 in the second half. What do you guys feel he was able to take advantage of that?
Yeah, he was good. When he got free, they really tried to disallow catches, but when he got free, he had enough space. He's a 40% shooter. He made his threes. He made some big ones. 3 for 9 of them. Felt like more, but he's a baller. He's a player. Every team guards him differently. He finds time. He finds his way to adjust and attack.
One more question.
Yeah, last
Kim, welcome back. Alex on the DC News Now. Your friend Jake Grom says hi.
Nice.
By the way. You touched on it a little bit, but for you and the other guys that came over from George Mason with you, how special was it for them to come back in the DMV and get this win?
Yeah, we had some Mason fans here. Brian Dunbar, we had some great Kathy McKay, some great Mason fans in the building. Always going to love George Mason University. Greg Washington, Brad Edwards, that gave me my first opportunity as a head coach. Proud, happy for Josh to get to see his family, his mom, Chris, his dad, Kofi, Justin Fernandez from Richmond. So get to go hug some of those mamas right now.
Yep. Kim, you talked about it a little bit in there, but clearly the 3-point line was important. You guys, obviously get hurt badly the last couple of games at the 3. After looking at those, was the other teams just really shot badly, or you guys just weren't playing it the way you wanted to?
Have the other team shot badly?
No. I'm sorry. The other team, obviously, they shot really well. Was it what you guys were doing
No,
defensively?
we did something different. I said this after the Villanova. We did something against Villanova we've never done. We don't double team in the post.
Yeah.
We felt like we had to against Nova because those guys are so good, so disciplined. And our guys, they didn't execute well, but that's on us. We put them in a position they're not used to. If we lose, as long as I'm fortunate enough to be the head coach of Providence, we're going to lose doing what we do. We have young guys, mixed in with some old guys, but we're creatures of habit. That's on me. We did some things defensively that we don't do. We got back to us tonight. We were 16th in the nation in 3-point defense at George Mason. We guard the 3-point line. We haven't done a great job this season, as good as we can. We're going to get back to being who we are.
And Devin at the halftime, I mean, you could tell he just had a different energy early in that second half. You have to say anything to him, or he knows what the deal is at this stage?
Yeah, we did some stuff to free him up, some backcut stuff when he's being denied. It was different. We did some things. They were pressuring him in ball screens. He had to get off of it and make plays. Obviously, he got to attack in transition. Now, one place is really hard to deny you in is in transition. And if you get the rebound and ignite our break. So he was great.
Coach, Rich Barron is such an impressive true freshman. 11 points tonight. Just knows how to play within himself, whether in the starting lineup or not. What do you have to say about Rich?
Yeah, it's his birthday. He was banged up a bit, so we didn't know if he didn't participate in shoot around. If you don't practice, you don't play. I'm sorry, you don't start. If you can't go. But he had a good warm up. He said he wanted to go, and it was a happy birthday for him.
Happy birthday.
Any more questions for Coach?
I'll ask one more, Coach. Congratulations on the win. You mentioned earlier or at the press conference just a couple minutes ago about going back to the Xavier game and some things that were creeping up on you guys. Could you explain that further?
Taylor, that's such a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. College basketball media, and you guys do a good job of this. Rarely talk about the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
Things like who's getting fired, who's on the bubble, who's going to get that job. That was you guys ask basketball questions, and I appreciate that. It was our body language, Taylor. It was our body language. Marquette and Villanova in Connecticut are 3 of the best teams in the country with their mindset, their connectedness as a group. And we didn't have great body language at Xavier. We didn't have great connectedness. We did not have an elite mindset at Xavier. So we just watched the film yesterday and pointed it out. We had a practice, we changed the way we sit on the bench. We were just spread out and disconnected, and it showed in the way we play. We simply just came more together as a team, and I thought our guys did a great job tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.